of the biggest barriers are really just the existing system. A lot of design colleges and places of design education don't teach circular design or sustainability. Some do, but it's very peripheral. So it's only those people who are already interested in sustainable design or in circular economy that will actually opt for those courses. It's not integrated into the main body of why we design, how we design, and thinking through that process. Often designs address very real problems that we have in the world, but they don't always think through that life cycle of a product. They don't necessarily think about the system in which it sits, and they don't necessarily take into account the kind of financial or the information systems in which that product kind of lives. And obviously it's a huge remit, and this is the challenge of the circular economy, is that we have to take everything into account, and if we start going down one track we're in danger of missing out on the others. So if we look too much at design or at waste, then we can often forget about resources and materials and manufacturing, and I think it's about keeping all of those aspects in mind as we design something. It's a huge challenge, and I think it has to start with education. Something that the RSA runs is called the Student Design Awards. That is a series of competitions, all of which are based around a real world challenge that we have that's either to do with social or environmental challenges, and the designer, the student who wins, is the one with the most creative, the best, the most practical idea around solving some of those challenges. People think of recycled as second best. They think of reuse as secondary to use. Perhaps the way we talk about it needs to change. Something that's remanufactured is actually tested and made to the same standard as the original piece of equipment. At the moment, often new materials are still cheaper than recycled or reused materials, and that's because the economic system's not in place that encourages reuse. It's a global matter. It's an issue of kind of labour costs versus material costs. So if you think 50 years ago, labour was cheap, materials were expensive, and now materials are cheap and labour is expensive, well, in the Western world at least. And I think that's quite a fundamental problem for the circular economy.